Hello and welcome to the first episode of my LEGO Combiner Wars series. Of course, first we need the Autobots, and the combiner that the Autobots combine into is Optimus Maximus. So today we have Optimus Maximus. If you're wondering who they are, Ironhide, Bumblebee, Optimus, Wheeljack, and Ratchet. First one we're going to take a look at is Optimus. Here's a look at him without his weapons. Here are his weapons. First we have the axe. Then we have his ion blaster. First step of transformation, fold his arms out. Next step, rotate them around like this, and then fold it up. This will give you enough clearance to rotate his waist around. In order to get clearance to move his hips down, his legs, rotate that bumper piece like that. Now you're going to rotate his legs down while holding his body down like this, so that his body doesn't detach from his waist. Then, since in order to transform him properly, you need his knees to be up a little bit. So in order to fix his stance, just move his knees back a little bit like that. Then in order to fix his stomach, you're gonna have to rotate that piece down, rotate his body to the side, then hold this jumper plate piece and rotate the rest of his body without it, so that you get a shape like this on his waist. You can also rotate this around like this, his car mode bumper or truck mode bumper, but it creates clearance issues when you want to move his legs, so I just prefer to leave it down. Plus, it doesn't really bother his look, in my opinion. Then, as you could probably guess, the final step is to rotate his arms down and fix this piece by doing that. Here's a quick look at him in his robot mode. I personally think I did a pretty good job with both modes. For articulation, his arms are on a universal joint, no elbow joint. His head can do a full 360, but it's not like you can really even tell. He has a 360 waist rotation. His legs can kick forward that far, and they can kick back about this far. Due to the way the pieces are put in place, he barely has a knee joint, but he can swivel his legs out to the side like this if you want to for some reason. And here he is holding his weapons. Next up we have the little brother of the Autobots, Bumblebee. As you can see, he's a pretty clean car. First step you're gonna do, rotate his arms down like that. This section comes off to become his weapon. Rotate his head in the right direction. Same thing with his arms. Then his legs, you're going to shift these panels down, rotate his leg out a little bit, and then finally move that piece like that. Then, in order to complete his look, rotate his chest piece up like that. And there you go. There you have Bumblebee in his robot mode. Here's a quick look at his robot mode. His articulation is that his arms can swivel like so, and like this, but since the edges of this piece are square, it's going to be kind of hard to move it around without it popping off. His arms can also move up and down like that. And if you put it to the sides, forward like that, and back like that. And I'm just going to keep his arm out like that for his gun mode. He can also rotate his head 360, and his feet can go forward that far, and back about that far. In order to transform this into his gun mode, first you're going to have to rotate that piece like that, then this piece like this, then you just tab it onto his arm, and it kind of creates a blaster reminiscent, I guess is the word, to his arm blaster in the Michael Bay films. Here's a quick look at him. Next up, we have Wheeljack and a bit of a lowered camera just for a better look at the figures. In order to transform Wheeljack, it's the exact same steps as Bumblebee, just with a few added steps. When you're going to transform Wheeljack's arms, rotate his arms out like this. Take off these pieces, set them off to the side, along with this piece on his head. You're also going to rotate his body a little bit higher, so that he has a little bit more height than Bumblebee. Just like so. And this time, you won't rotate his chest plate upwards like Bumblebee, because this is how Wheeljack's chest plate is supposed to look. Here's a quick look at him. In order to create his accessory, you're going to need to tap these pieces onto the back of this jumper plate like this to create something that looks like this. This isn't a weapon of sorts, but it does act as a backpack for Wheeljack. And he's supposed to have these little wing things on his back. That kind of represents that. Wheeljack has the same articulation as Bumblebee, except his feet can kick forward and backward more than before with Bumblebee. Next up, we have Ironhide. Here's a look at Ironhide's vehicle mode without his weapons. In order to transform Ironhide, you're going to rotate his arms out like so. Then swivel his arms out or around like that. Then rotate his legs down, wiggle them out to the sides, stand him up, and there you have Ironhide in his robot mode. For articulation, his arms are on a ball joint, his head can swivel around, his legs can kick forward that far, and back that far. His weapons simply attach to his arms, like in the Michael Bay films. These weapons are actually inspired by his Michael Bay weapons. Here's Ratchet in his ambulance mode. Here's a look at Ratchet without his weapons in ambulance mode. Ratchet has the same exact transformation as Ironhide, except with his weapons. You're going to take them off and move them down by one stud. When in robot mode, these pieces from Ratchet's ambulance mode with the ambulance lights These will create blades that are inspired from Transformers Prime and Ratchet's weapons. Here's a look at Ratchet without his Transformers Prime inspired blade weapons. Here's a look at the Autobots with their accessories. Here's a look at the Autobots without their accessories. In order to put Optimus into his combined mode, you're going to need to rotate his shoulder pieces back like this. And then you're going to rotate his arms up like so. And once you do this, you're going to rotate his body around so that it lines up with the jumper plate. And then with the jumper plate, you're going to move. You're going to move his upper body into his vehicle mode configuration so that it looks something like this. Then, back here, you are going to rotate his legs out a little bit and his upper body will fall off. It's just going to be easier to do it without it. Rotate his legs, or swivel his legs out a little bit. Then you're going to rotate it upside down like this. Rotate it down, then around. Rotate it out a little bit more so that when his lower leg goes all the way down, it goes straight instead of staying up a little bit. And then you're going to rotate that piece inward. Rotate his foot around like that. And then this piece will rotate up. This is what Optimus should look like in his combined form. Next section is Bumblebee. Rotate his head like that. Rotate his arm up and then like so. Then you're going to swivel his feet together. Just like that. And if you prefer, you can rotate his body up like Wheeljack. Except this piece is more stiff, so it's just going to keep popping off. But if you want to make Optimus Maximus a little bit taller, you can do that. Rotate his body up a little bit on that T-joint piece. And there's one leg, and Wheeljack is the same exact transformation. One thing I also almost forgot is to rotate their chest pieces into a diamond shape. And also, after getting him into robot mode, you're going to lower Wheeljack so that he is the same height as Bumblebee. In order to connect these pieces, you're going to connect it like this. Same exact thing with Wheeljack. And that is Optimus Maximus's legs are done. In order to transform Ironhide into his combined mode, you're simply just going to transform it back into his van mode. The same exact thing goes for Ratchet. Then you're going to put him like this, and this is where the hands come in. So you're supposed to have them like this, and you're going to attach them right here. So that's one arm. Then we have the other one. On his feet, you're going to find one of these jumper plate pieces, and in this case, it's I guess his left arm, Ironhide's left arm, and you're going to attach it at the highest point. just like so. And this is actually the wrong arm. You're supposed to do this side with Ironhide. Just like that. And then this is the arm with Ratchet. But of course, you could swap it around since they are the exact same build. Now here's the combine mode. There's obviously something missing, and that is the head. You're going to bring in this piece, basically just his head. But this section right here, this little blue piece, it's also going to complete his chest plate. In order to combine it, you need to find these two sections and these two red sections and place it in the middle of these wheels, and they're actually going to connect to the wheels. Just like so. And here is Optimus Maximus in all of his combiner glory. Let's take a look. Right now, he doesn't have anything on him, any accessories or anything like that at all. But here he is with his accessories. Optimus Prime's axe is on his arm. Ratchet's blades are on the shoulders. Optimus Prime's Ion Blaster acts as a shoulder cannon, and Wheeljack's backpack and Ironhide's cannons act as smokestacks. They're not really smokestacks, they're just kind of there to represent Optimus Prime's smokestacks. Because if you look at it from the waist up, it kind of looks like just a big Optimus Prime. You can also change the smokestacks or the Ratchet's blades to however you want to make them look different and the way you want them to look, but personally I just prefer them all the way down. And he's completely falling apart. And me saying he's completely falling apart is kind of a lie. It's just at this point he's only connected on one stud, so it's naturally a very weak joint. And in that case, let's get to articulation, where surprisingly he has a full waist joint. At Optimus Prime's same waist joint. It's kind of hard to do. And this is what I was talking about. It's kind of hard to do without it breaking. Technically, his legs are connected on ball joints, and since his legs are basically his entire upper chest, or just his chest, he can look up like this with the ball joints. And with that same joint, he can also look down, which I guess you could consider this an ab crunch. Optimus Maximus' head can do a full 360, and due to the way it's built, he has two faces, one at the front of his head and one at the back of his head, which is kind of creepy. And if you move this piece out of the way, you can rotate his arm up like that, rotate his arm like this, and for some reason this one stud joint is way stronger than this one, which doesn't even really tab in. But whatever, it is what it is. And technically, due to his ball joint on his arms, he has an inner elbow joint, and due to the way his hands are built, there's a wrist swivel, and you can open his hand up like this or ball it up into a fist. And since Optimus Prime's weapon is here, his axe, he can't really wrist swivel. His hips are on ball joints, but I'm just too afraid to move those because they're very stiff and the whole thing will just crumble and fall apart. He also has no knee joints. He does not have knee joints unless you move his leg down like this, but it creates a weaker connection. But hey, if you want a knee joint, then here it is. But this is the proper way to do it. He also technically has like a foot thing. He can do the thing with his foot where they swivel down to accommodate for his pose, and I guess this is not being stiff anymore. Kick about that high up and about back that far because this piece is getting in the way. And his feet can also swivel like this since they're on the ball joint. Well, not the ball joint. They're on like a T joint. Same thing with Wheeljack. And his feet can also move up and back. So yeah, that's Optimus Maximus, the Autobots, and I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. And next time I'm probably gonna do Megatronus Maximus, which is basically just a Decepticon combiner, which is basically just the Decepticon version of this.